The following transmission is between us and the Fallout Collector, an internet personality who collects and features dozens of different memorabilia from the Fallout franchise. Over the course of our conversation, we talk about our now wildly outdated predictions for the Fallout Prime TV series, what direction Fallout as a storytelling medium could go in, and the collector's history with collecting. I am your host, follower Toshi, and this is the Atomcast. If you enjoy this episode, show your support by leaving a like and hitting subscribe, and consider becoming a member of our Patreon, where your monthly contribution will go towards improving the quality of transmission, as well as helping to decrease the time between uploads. As always, links to our Patreon, as well as guest socials, can be found in the description below. Without further ado, the Fallout Collector.
All right, so full disclosure to the audience here and everything. We're recording this the same day that the Fallout Amazon series is going to drop. So if we seem rushed or hurried anything, we have a very legitimate reason for doing that. We're just so excited for the show and everything. What's your wild, just out of pocket prediction that you think the show is going to do?
What's my man? You know what? I've been kind of hands off, like really not trying to predict too much with it. I think because watching some of the trailers, I think it's going to cater to a pretty wide audience. So I really don't know where they're going to go with it. Like I've been kind of avoiding watching anybody talk about it or really putting too much thought into it because I want to go into it just blank. You know what I'm saying? I don't want any expectations or get my mindset this way or that way. I just want to go in as blank as possible and just be excited to just be there, and just watch it and see what they decide to do with it.
My out of pocket prediction is that we're gonna it's gonna get all the way to the last episode of the first season, and then Frank Horrigan's gonna come stomping in. And then we're gonna have to wait like 3 more years for season 2.
Right. I'm excited just to see just somebody get slaughtered by a deathclaw. I hope that happens. I just want to see somebody just literally get ripped in half by a deathclaw. Right. That would make me happy. Just that. Just
like all 3 claws just like chop through somebody and they just kind of falls apart like spaghetti.
Oh yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just like the bloody mess perk, just body parts going everywhere.
That's
maybe even caps explode out of them. You're like, yeah.
That's one thing that I've been noticing a little bit. A lot of the sort of like video gamey reference kind of thing, because obviously with the main artwork and stuff, you got that explosion of caps and everything, which, might just be a fun, like, hey, bottle caps, they're a big deal in the Fallout universe, and they're fun. They're little shards of pointy metal, ironic enough. But it reminds me of oh god, I forget the name of the perk off the top of my head, but the perk in Fallout 4 where you kill them and then they have a chance of exploding and dropping a whole bunch of caps.
Exploding with all the body. Yeah, that's what I was referencing when I said the bottle caps just flying everywhere. You got the bloody mess perk, but then it's the different perk where they actually explode with all the caps flying everywhere.
Right.
I think I had that in 76, but now I forget the name of it too.
And then I also had somebody in my comment section on YouTube ask if they're not ask, but like hypothesize, like, man, I wonder if they're gonna like reference that in any way. And I don't know which video it was specifically, but one of the like promo videos that they dropped did have a blink, maybe not a blink and you'll miss a moment, but like a second or two where you actually did see the camera rotating around a bullet as it was flying through the air, very similar to like what we see in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4.
Oh yeah, like the cinematic, like when you get that kill shot or something, or you get that cinematic shot. Yeah. I don't know if they're gonna do that's where they slow everything down. Maybe just video tricks where it looks slowed down. But I think about the only time they're gonna do it where it's like highlighted, that would make sense, is if they're already in power armor and maybe the power armor is like highlighting them or something. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Do you think that would be something that would translate to the medium well?
I think if they did it right, yeah. I mean, it could look cool for a movie, just like a typical slowdown scene.
yeah,
But you just make it more VATS oriented. I think they can get away with doing it. But highlighting and stopping time and highlighting different body parts, that might be a little janky in a show.
That'd be amazing to see, though.
Visually, it might be janky, but I mean, hey, I don't know. They can get away with it.
Another one of the like really big things that have like dropped like more so recently, like very recently, like as of the time of this recording, just like a couple days ago, I think. The Fallout Amazon show has already been greenlit for a second season, more or less. Like they got tax money set aside for it.
I saw that. I saw people kind of mixed about that one. I guess it was like California tax money going to like TV shows or something instead of like the homeless. I saw more people mad about that than anything. But yeah, it's definitely good news that it's already greenlit for a second season. I think reception at all the events that they held, people really seem to like it. So
that's what I've been seeing too. I have we have a mutual friend who saw it, and then I have another contact that I'm trying to get on the show who was able to go to the London show, and so she got to see like the first 2 episodes before like
nice.
Practically anybody else. And she said it was really good. Cool. Which gives me confidence. And then I've been just like today, because again, this is the day that the show is going to drop. I've been trying to like avoid social media in general, just to like not see any spoilers.
Yeah, I'm shocked there's not been spoilers. Like so many people went to like the LA premiere and everything, and people who aren't like really in the social media game or anything, who I would have fully expected to be like, this is exactly what happens in the first 2 episodes, and then just push that out there, so I'm surprised I haven't heard anything about it really.
One of the like really interesting things that I noticed, and this is like a way big like throwback, but do you remember when the like new Star Wars trilogy like first dropped?
That was forever ago. Yeah, I remember that.
I remember specifically there was like a massive, like an almost worldwide consensus to like, all right, the new episode, like when the new episode drops, nobody spoil anything. I think I even remember hearing stories about one guy who left the theater, and I can't remember if he intentionally spoiled it or unintentionally spoiled it. But he actually got roughed up a little bit because he spoiled Star Wars.
Oh my god!
Right?
Yeah,
like in there in the theater.
See, and even back then, it's almost hard. It would almost be hard to catch a spoiler back then because social media wasn't like what you had like AOL back then.
Yeah, it wasn't that.
Maybe
No, I'm talking about like the new ones, like the J.J. Abrams ones.
Oh, I thought you meant like the old episode, like not the first. I thought you meant when episode 1, 2, and 3 came out.
I would
like that was like early 2000s. That's what I thought you meant.
No, I mean like the J.J. Abrams ones. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I can imagine there'd be something like that back then too, but specifically the J.J. Abrams ones. That's what I remember hearing. But it's weird because like ever since then, I've seen a lot more people just like when big new things come out. There's just this like general vibe of like there's not going to be any spoilers. We're not like nobody wants to be that guy,
Yeah.
So it's interesting because it seems like it's almost like a communal thing, like movie and internet goers. They just kind of like understand like when that happens. For the most part, like no spoilers or anything. We're also like the show isn't out yet, so maybe that'll change in the next 6 to 8 hours. We'll go on Twitter like 5 minutes after the show drops, and be all like, fucking Elder Maxon shows up and the Chosen One's there, and like, oh fuck.
I think there's bad eggs in just about everything. I think you're going to get people who are going to drop spoilers. I think you're going to get people who are going to unintentionally drop spoilers, like, oh my god, can you believe this happened, not even thinking about the fact that they're spoiling it.
Right.
Then you're going to have people going out of their way to spoil it, but I think the wider Fallout community is pretty nice and like that doesn't really want to spoil it for anybody, but I guarantee there's going to be people who want the clicks and they're going to put something out there that's just like going to upset people and try to go viral off of being the first to say something about something.
I think how it goes.
Yeah, so I think that's more or less what's going to happen, because I'm probably not going to cover any of the show because, like I said, I don't do lore or anything. I don't really do stories. If I do anything, it might be a couple of clips of the show that I thought might be cool, but even that, more than likely not going to do anything. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to enjoy it. If somebody wants to talk, I'll talk, but not going to be like what my content is really. So, since I only do collectible stuff anyway. You don't have to worry about any spoilers coming from me.
Right. I've been thinking about like what I'm gonna, because I'm definitely gonna be doing a video about it, but I'm mostly probably leaning more into like what this means for the like the series going forward, because like Todd Howard and Jonathan Nolan have been saying like, oh, this is like basically Fallout 5, so it's like interesting.
That's a wild claim. Like,
right, that's a pretty big one.
Yes, it could be like, hey, these games that you spent hundreds of hours in, and that you make all the decisions, and you're the one exploring, and you're the one controlling everything. Yeah, this is just like that, but we're controlling everything, and you're just along for the ride. Right. It's like, it's a weird claim. Like maybe storyline wise, this might have been the base like mainline story of a Fallout 5, but yeah, to just say this is Fallout 5 is wild.
Well, now that brings up like an interesting point, because like it's something that me and like one or two other people have been kind of speculating on along, but like if like the TV series, whether it's just like 2 seasons or goes from now to whenever Fallout 5 drops, and the TV series is kind of like that preamble or that lead up into Fallout 5. Like you start Fallout 5 and it's kind of expected that you watch the TV series before getting into that. What do you think about that? Like maybe not so much as like, will they actually do that? But if they do that, what do you think like the general reception would be to that?
I think the game fans would probably not like it, because I don't know. I was under the assumption that a lot of the TV show wasn't canon, but I don't know. Like I said, I've been kind of avoiding a lot of it. I know there's going to be canon stuff, but I didn't know how it flowed with the story of everything else.
Yeah,
but
as far as I know, it's canon.
Is it? Okay, yeah. Well, then, I mean, I'll watch it anyway, and I'll be fine if they lead up into the next Fallout and be like, oh yeah, I remember this from the show. I remember that from the show. But yeah, like I would kind of hope that like whatever they do next, like. I don't know, because to me, originally when I was looking at the Fallout TV show, I thought it'd be really cool if they just did different vaults. Like this is Vault 33, so this is the season 1 is all just Vault 33, start to finish, maybe a conclusion at the end. I doubt that's how it's going to be. Then the next one's going to be a different vault or a different scenario. Maybe the next time you're just following a completely different person who maybe they didn't even grow up in a vault, or maybe they don't even know about vault. Whatever, I think that'd be kind of cool, getting different stories each season, but. I would imagine that's not how it's going to happen.
kind of like Black Mirror, how for the most part they're all kind of like disconnected from each other.
Yeah, each episodes are disconnected from each other. But yeah, this would be like season by season. Oh, season 1, oh yeah, that was Vault 33. Season 2, oh yeah, that was Vault whatever. That'd be kind of cool.
That would be kind of interesting.
But yeah, as far as the lead up into a video game, I personally wouldn't have a problem with that, but I think there'd be a lot of other people who might have a problem with that. But I mean, the shows are going to be pretty accessible. I think the shows are going to be more accessible than having, Fallout 4 leads into Fallout 5, and you're not going to understand unless you played the 4th one. Now you just told somebody to go spend 100 hours in this game rather than spending 8 hours watching a series,
Yeah.
So
because especially since like not all like very like. I think the only exception is like Fallout 1 and 2, but like every other game in the Fallout franchise is like completely, maybe not completely, but like for the most part, like disconnected from any of the other games. Like, they'll reference, other things in the universe, but it's not like you're playing Fallout 4 and it's like, oh, like you need to have played Fallout 3. Like it's not a sequel. It's just the next game in the franchise.
Yeah, typically they do a pretty good job of kind of explaining, like this is what's going on, rather than you having to reference an old game. You might find a terminal that you might not fully understand unless you've played another game or you saw it referenced somewhere else, in a different medium of Fallout. But yeah, I think it'd be really weird if they did do it where like the show led up into the game. I also think they wouldn't do that because I think timing for that kind of stuff would have to like, I don't know, it'd be weird because you'd figure, all right, they're going to lead season 2 into Fallout 5. Well, now Fallout 5 just got pushed back another year, and they're about to come out with season 3. Now is season 2 still going to lead up into Fallout 5, or how's that going to work? So I think there's a lot of stuff with that might not work out the way they'd want it to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a big reason I think they wouldn't do it, but I don't know.
What do you think of like the larger concept of just Fallout exploring other being present in other like media forms, because prior to the TV show, as far as I remember anyway, and you might actually be able to correct me on this one as the collector of the community. But as far as I know, the only other medium that wasn't video game that was related to Fallout's canon, besides most recently the TTRPG game, was that little like not spin-off, but that one comic book about like what Benny and that one Great Khan guy whose name always escapes me, what they were doing like right before they met up with the courier and shot him and took the chip.
Oh yeah,
It was something Rhodes, I think.
Oh, you talking about the novel that came with New Vegas?
The little like graphic novel thing.
Yeah, the graphic novel. So that came with the collector's edition in New Vegas. If that's what you're referring to.
Yeah. What was that called again?
Actually, I got it somewhere over here. Hang on. Where's my New Vegas?
He's got it on his shelf.
I do. Yeah, I got. I'm actually pulling it out right now because it's still in the box.
Ooh, laminated.
Ooh, I almost tripped. It is. All Roads. It's just All Roads.
That was it.
Because I was gonna call it Lonesome Road too, and then I was like, well, I don't think that's right.
Right? Like, no, that's
well, you got that. Exactly. But yeah, my mind, like I said, is not the smartest sometimes. Right. But yeah, as far as like Fallout's storyline, yeah, you'd have that. There was obviously the Vault 77, which I don't know if that's canon or not, but yeah, that was kind of a little comic strip about about the puppet.
Oh, right, that's that one. Yeah, I remember. I think that is canon.
I'm pretty sure it is because that came out right before Fallout 3.
Yeah,
and
I think they referenced it somewhere.
Yeah,
and some.
And then I don't know if any of the board game stuff. I think most of even the official Fallout board game. I think that's mostly just referencing the video games and not its own thing.
As far as I know, the board game itself, with like the little miniatures and stuff, that I don't believe is canon. But the actual like Dungeons and Dragons TTRPG style thing, which I think is just called Fallout, the Fallout role playing game. I got it on my shelf here actually. Let me just move this book here. Fallout the role playing game. That one actually is canon because the events of that story take place pretty much like immediately before Fallout 4. I think like a year before actually. But that is canon, and then the All Roads thing is canon, and then this TV series is canon. So like to that larger point, do you like what do you think of like Fallout exploring these other mediums? Obviously the show is going to be continuing on for probably a while, since we already have a season 2 greenlit. But what do you think of the franchise, branching out into further expansions on the tabletop game, or like other books and like graphic novels, light novels, other medium besides just the video games?
Oh, as a collector, I'd be all about it. But yeah, I think that'd be really cool if they did something like that. Just more books. I know there's fan fiction books too, but yeah, just a bunch of books and just stuff diving deeper into lore would be pretty cool. And just more canon stuff that, yeah, like you said, it's not video games or just a TV show. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
So if Fallout did go into like another medium, just like another edition besides like, the tabletop and the the show and the comics and stuff, what form would you like it to see, and what sort of segment of the Fallout universe would you be interested to see explored?
It's a good question. Well, for me, since I don't stop and read too many books because like I don't have the mental capacity to just sit in front of a book. Like I just don't do it. I think an audio book, like a book obviously, but like an audio like novel, like would be pretty cool for me. You might have already covered that by saying book, but I think for me that'd be pretty awesome. And I don't know, I just want to hear more about other vaults. Like my biggest thing with the game, aside from the just the visuals of the game and how everything looks, I love that. Just hearing more about vault experiments and just what the people at Vault Tech were was going through their head, like what different experiments they were doing on people. Which there's a lot of that covered in a ton of YouTube videos, but it's something that I'm more interested in that I think than a lot of the other stuff.
One of the things that I'd really like to see is a kind of like either like how do I phrase it? Kind of like one of those games where it's like a lot smaller in scale. So maybe something a little bit more gameplay focused than like say a visual novel, but not as expansive as like, the games that we have now. Something smaller, more focused, scaled back, set in like the pre-war era,
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah, pre-war Fallout would be pretty dope.
Right. One of the things that I think would be really cool is like some sort of like espionage focused story, like in the 11th hour before everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
Oh,
you
yeah.
You kind of like, no, there's no replayability there, but like just something that kind of gives us a bit more of a look into how things were going and how things were playing out in the hours leading up to the end of the world, as it were.
Yeah. That would be pretty awesome. I'd be all about that.
Right.
Because I'm one of my favorite parts, really, and I really wish that you could like leave Sanctuary. Just Fallout 4 is when you're starting out. Just everything looks so cool. You're like, wow, I just wanted to explore and just keep walking. Just to get out of Sanctuary, just keep walking in a post-nuclear war. I think that'd be post-nuclear attack. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
But then
pre-nuclear attack, not post-nuclear attack. Pre-nuclear attack. Yeah.
But then you actually try to leave Sanctuary pre-war, and you just get murked anyway.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, the bombs drop, or if you use like cheats to get out of there, you just kind of like fall through the map, or nothing's rendered, and you're like, or everything outside of there actually is rendered as it would be after the bombs fall.
Yeah.
You just I'm like, oh man,
you just exist in this little bubble.
yeah. So that part kind of stuff. But I think a pre-war one would be pretty cool. I have a question for you. What do you think Fallout 5? You think Fallout 5 is going to be another vault experiment that you're going to be like jumped into, like 101, 111, how those were, 76, all that stuff? Or do you think it's like, I don't know, I like to think that maybe you're going to just start off as like a normal person pre-war and then just become a ghoul and live as a ghoul? I think that'd be pretty cool. Or like at least an option of that. I think it'd be cool if they started off with an option of like, kind of like how Brotherhood of Steel did, where you can choose your character,
right.
Maybe choose like a set, like kind of a determined path. Obviously you kind of like do everything and be like, make all the decisions that character is going to make throughout the game, but maybe you can be the ghoul, maybe you can be the vault dweller, or something like that. Maybe you can be like a baby in some settlement, and you're just growing up, something like that. I think that'd be pretty cool.
So that you kind of either knowingly or unknowingly, you kind of asked two questions there. The first question,
I said, my mind's all over the place all the time.
Well, it's interesting because I think you kind of did it unintentionally, or maybe I'm just like extrapolating there. But I think the first question you're asking is obviously like, do I think Fallout 5 is going to have you being a vault dweller? Me personally, I think it's incredibly likely that that's what Fallout 5 is. That's just kind of been Bethesda's modus operandus there. But especially with like Fallout 76, where you're pre-war, but then you go out into post-war, which is just because like the timeline. So you're so far back in the timeline. But also Fallout 4, where it's the same thing, but they had a reason for it. They did the cryo sleep and stuff. I think that to answer your first question, no, I don't think that it's going to be something different from what they've been normally doing in Fallout 3, Fallout 4, Fallout 76. I think you are still going to be a vault dweller. If it's made, or not if, but Fallout 5 is going to be made by Bethesda, so I think there's not really an option there. But that's not to say that we could not see a story, an actual proper canon story where that is the case. If like, New Vegas 2 happens, or like a spin-off story or book or, game or light novel or whatever. As you were asking that question, I was thinking in my head, because you were talking about ghouls and stuff, I think it would be really interesting to experience or to have a Fallout story out there, again, book, light novel, fucking radio play, what have you, where the main character that you follow throughout the story is a pre-war human and then becomes ghoulified, non-feral, and then we either jump forward, to the quote-unquote present time, and just continue along with them, or jump through different points in time following this character as, hey, the bomb's dropped, I'm a ghoul now, let's see where that goes. Jump forward 50 years, crazy stuff happens. Jump forward another 50 years, other stuff happens. Kind of go along those lines where it's more like the point of the story or, anything isn't the world itself. It's more so how the world is affecting this specific character. And then obviously you get into the meta narrative of that. And then it's like you can apply that to, Joshua Graham, Arthur Maxon, Leggett Lannies. You can start applying this okay, this is what the Wasteland does to a motherfucker. And then you can take that and just apply it to every single NPC in the game. Because one of the interesting things that we learned in Fallout 4, specifically from the Vault-Tec representative that, comes to your door is the years right after the bombs dropped. The way he describes it makes it sound like it was actual hell on your earth, fires all over the place, people ripping each other apart, actual pandemonium. That's not really what we see in Fallout 76. Of course, different part of the country, the area wasn't hit as hard, and it's still divorced. I think there was technically, there was 20 years after the bombs dropped. So, plenty of time for stuff to not suck as much.
Right.
But I think it would be really interesting just to focus on that kind of, that kind of story where you see how the Wasteland affects this guy specifically. And then it's oh shit, this is, what his experience was. I wonder what this person's experience was, or this person's experience was. More so the larger focus is the Wasteland itself, as I said, as it relates to other characters.
Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. The only thing with like you said, jumping through timelines, because my mind kind of gets stuck thinking about jumping through different timelines, is the only way I think Bethesda could do it is if they did it like Fallout 3, where you're jumping through timelines when you go from a baby to a teenager, all that stuff.
But you're a ghoul in this case.
Yeah, because I don't think you could do much world building if you keep jumping through time, because it'd be a pretty open world game. Maybe they could do it, but so much stuff would change, that it would be kind of weird jumping through different eras, of the Wasteland, like that. It'd probably be a small segment of the game where bombs drop, you go through the hell phase, then you go through maybe a rebuilding phase, and then now you're in the modern Wasteland.
I can't imagine that it would actually be a proper RPG. It would have to be something a lot more story focused.
Yep, that's kind of what I was thinking. If you're jumping through, until you get to the modern Wasteland, and now something maybe you were just alone, and you didn't find any settlements after so long, and then now the story really starts because you just found a settlement that you're getting in with. Now, do you want to go be a ghoul raider, or do you want to go do this, or you want to be a trader? You want to do then the story would really open up. I think something like that would be. I think it'd be pretty cool because I always thought a ghoul-based game would be a lot of fun.
I think,
but it would kind of lock you down into hey, you're a ghoul. You're always a ghoul. which would kind of suck for people who like character creation and doing their own thing.
I could definitely see that succeeding as a visual novel kind of thing. I don't know if you've ever played a game called Slay the Princess. I played it for a stream a while ago. But it's also one of those things where it's a visual novel. The entire focus is on the story and stuff. It's a more or less pretty, I don't want to say straightforward because it's a very, very complicated, very expansive game. But the story that you actually play in the game is always, roughly the same. There's no sort of larger delineation that we see in RPG games, or most RPG games anyway. But you do have a bit of agency on how the story plays out and how the story ends. and there's just enough in there to, it's like, you know, you can't make your own characters or anything like that, but the writing is at that level to where, I mean, again, it's a visual novel, so all of the focus is on the characters and their experiences and stuff. But as I said, there's enough wiggle room for the experiences to be different, to shift, you know, one of those your choices matter kind of situations. And I think that if Bethesda were to make a game like that, it would almost have to be in maybe sort of like a visual novel style or some other really limited capacity where they can do that kind of stuff, but not so expansive that when they add in like higher level RPG elements or like 3D world building or anything like that, it would delineate too far from the focal point of the story,
Right.
which would have to be the characters.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Now you got me hoping they do something like that.
Right? Like that's the fucking shitty part of it, is like you hope for all this like cool stuff, like, oh, there's so much cool shit that they could do, and then it's like they're probably not going to do that, son
Right.
of a bitch. But you know,
No,
you
what
gotta
Fallout 5
hope.
is going to end up being is going to be a live service first person shooter like Nuclear Winter. That's all it's going to be. That's
Nuclear
Fallout
Winter
5.
was so awesome, though.
I do miss Nuclear Winter. I only actually played a few rounds of it, and I was not good. Like everyone else had their weapons and like these badass, you know, weapons that I just didn't have, or like they modded weapons into it. And I felt like as soon as I'd take a step, I was getting murdered. And I was pretty good at Call of Duty back in the day, and I just was not good at Nuclear Winter.
I just bush camped. That's what
Oh
I did.
yeah,
That
hey,
was
that's a
my
good
strat.
tactic. You know? I don't fault you for it. Me, I was always like bro, let's go, you know, just run toward the enemy and bop, dead. I'm like,
Right.
oh well, I tried my best.
I would do that when if I was in like a team with friends and stuff, because then it's fun. But when you do
Yeah.
that solo, it's like, oh well, I died. Well, this isn't fun.
Yeah.
One of the whoops, smacking the mic there. I don't know if that caught, but if it did,
I didn't hear it.
my apologies. But a little insider baseball here. We've had to start and stop this interview a couple times because at the time of us recording this, you put out, if I can talk about this, it's live.
Go
So
for
I
it. Yeah,
imagine I
it's
could
all
talk
live
about
now.
this.
Yeah, you're good now.
You did a collaboration with Grubhub and basically put out this. What is it still here? Oh yeah, it says the Nuka-Blast Burger. What's it called specifically?
Well, it's the Grubhub meal with their tune in and takeout promotion,
That was
and it's it's the Nuka-Blast Burger meal, and it comes with Fallout fries and one of the Jones Cola victories. And so I don't live in any of the areas that promotion is actually live, so it's only in, as far as I know, it's only in a few places in Los Angeles and New York, and it's only going to be sold for one day. I read somewhere that there was 150 meals in each city. So I don't know how that works, but it's apparently really limited. But they
like
sent
Ghost
me like
Kitchens or something.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's just like Ghost Kitchens that they're working with.
Yeah.
And only New York, only Los Angeles. I think it would have been really cool if they did it like nationwide, just some big promotion.
Right.
You know, I'd probably have 4 of those meals sitting in front of the TV right now, waiting for Fallout to drop.
You would have had a whole show drop, and then you would have had a literal meal to eat that.
Oh, dude, yeah, I'd have been, yeah.
The synchronicity is perfect.
I've been on a diet for 3 weeks because I'm so, this is kind of off topic, kind of on topic, but I've been trying to lose weight for that Pioneer Saloon get together, that New Vegas weekend, and I'm just very self-conscious about my weight, always am, and so I'm like, cool, I'm gonna actually diet again. I said it before, I'm gonna try it again, and I'm down 10 pounds, but today I'm gonna break that because I'm just gonna binge the F out of Fallout and just eat food.
I mean, I'm doing the same. I already have it set to get here like a little bit before the show starts. I'm getting a Little Caesars large pizza. It's a stuffed pretzel crust.
Ooh, that sounds good.
With cheese sauce. So like decadent.
Is it the jalapeno cheese sauce?
No, it's just the regular cheese sauce.
Okay, yeah, that jalapeno cheese sauce is fire.
I can't. That's the problem. I can't do spicy shit.
Oh man, come on, it's so good.
You
wouldn't want the Nuka-Blast Burger because I think the Nuka-Blast Burgers, it's just got like a thick layer of just green peppers or I don't know what else on it, but the photo that I saw, the video that I saw, it just looked like a stack of green peppers or jalapenos or something.
That's actually what I was gonna ask, because it comes with, it comes with the burger, fries, and the Nuka-Cola Victory from the Jones Soda.
Yep.
Which, by the way, this isn't sponsored or anything. I'm just
We're referencing the fact that we had to stop this video 3 times for me to take it down and repost it because they were having me do little changes to the caption.
Yeah.
And so, like, if you're listening to this and you happen to follow me and you happen to have seen that video go live 3 separate times, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's why. Take it up with Grubhub. It's their fault.
Yeah, it's not my fault. I didn't do it.
Right. But
I was doing exactly what I was told.
But to my point though, what is like it? I mean, it looks like you have the burger there with you. Did you try it? What's the?
I do not have the burger, so I don't have the burger. I don't have any of the food that is included. The only thing that I got that comes in the meal was really the Jones Cola. And then that was actually doing that video was the first time that I drank one of the Jones Colas because I have mine and I'm a collector. So I'm like, I'm just going to set these aside. I'm not going to drink them. Well, then they sent me one. I was like, cool. It's actually really freaking good. If you like peach soda, I like it a lot.
Ooh,
and
nice.
that was my first time actually trying it. And yeah, it was really good. But yeah, as far as the burger goes, I have not tried it. And in the video, the fries that you see, they sent these little wax fries. And so like, hang on, listen to this, see if you can hear it. Hang on. That's a fry hitting my desk. If you can hear it.
I don't think we could hear it, but I mean, wax fry, I can imagine. Gee whiz,
yeah.
Man.
just a wax fry. So nothing too cool. They look appealing in the video,
right?
But yeah, I didn't get real fries because this stuff shipped from New York, and I guess they probably could have put it in one of the like freezer packs or something, and like I could have thawed it out or something. But
a whole massive marketing campaign here, and can't even scrounge up enough money to send you a free burger. That's rude.
Right.
Grubhub.
Oh well, initially they wanted me to make they're like, hey, we're gonna send you the ingredients and you make it. And I was like, oh man, I'm not a cooking channel. Yeah. Like I don't like. And in my mind, I was like, cool, I can make it like a wasteland cooking thing. Well, they definitely don't want that. They don't want it looking like dirty and grungy or anything. So they'd have to be in my kitchen.
That would have been awesome, though. Especially because we were chatting a little bit before this. It sounds like you have a little bit of expertise with like hands-on DIY stuff. So just make like a grill out of like trash, and then use like a broken spatula. Fucking whip up all the stuff, and then just kind of like slap it all together. And like, there's your burger. God, that would have been amazing.
They would have. A real Fallout fan would have saw that and said, "Hell yeah!"
Yeah.
A food company would have saw that and be like, "No."
Like, we're gonna lose so much money on this.
Yeah, like man. The people who aren't in tune with Fallout are gonna hate this. The people who are in tune with Fallout are gonna love this.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know how well that would have actually worked out. So I definitely do because my initial video was gonna be more of a skit, and I actually went to this like scrap metal little junkyard burn up couch and everything, and I was like, this looks like a little Fallout area. Like, oh, let's film here. And I couldn't get the video to work because I only had like a day to film it, and I was like filming different segments at different times of the day, so the sun and the lighting kept changing, and there's a bunch of stuff wrong with it, and I was like, this is not working out. So then I completely had to redo the video, and it was on such short notice. Like by the time I got this kind of insider knowledge too, as far as this video goes, but by the time I got these, I had to make the video the same day I got that stuff. Or sorry, I had to make it the same day and have it not posted, but like have it sent off for their review the next day. And I'd never worked with a company like that. Usually it's just like, here's a product, just unbox it. So this was way different for me.
Yeah, you should definitely hold on to that idea at some point. Just do like, for like, I don't know, just a fun video just to do. You should 100% do that. Do like wasteland cooking, and you just like
dude, that'd be awesome. You ever watch
grill.
Kuru the Clown on TikTok? I think he's got TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. But he dresses up like a clown, and it's all like dark and dungy. He looks like he's in like a drug den, and he's like just grabbing drugs and making meals out of them. Dude, it's awesome. I love his videos, man. And every time I watch it, it inspires me for like a minute. I'm like, I want to do something like that. And then I'm like, I don't think I can do it as good as him. And I'm gonna leave that to him because that's I like it. I like his idea.
I mean, like, never be afraid to mimic your inspirations.
Oh yeah. No, if I ever did a video like that, I would tag him and it'd be like, hey, I was inspired by it. But yeah, I really enjoy his videos. I like when they pop up.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of creators that I'm like, I'll stop and watch. I'm like, it's so cool. Like some of the, because people, I feel like one of the least creative creators, because literally I used to do like little skit videos or like the funny, whatever TikTok trends there were. I try to make it Fallout related. I really don't do that anymore. I just kind of like, here's a cool item. Here's me taken out of a box. Isn't that pretty? I'm done. Like, because that's where my passion is. Yeah. So I'm like, that's where my passion is just the collection. I just like it. Now I don't know where that stems from exactly. I didn't really collect anything was like when I was a kid, but pretty much as soon as I got out on my own and I could afford a couple of things, it went from video game collecting to video game merch collecting to horror movie memorabilia collecting to TV show memorabilia collecting. Then Fallout was always there, always in the background, like whenever I was collecting video game stuff. But it just slowly, more and more Fallout stuff came out, and then by the time Fallout 4 came out and the Bethesda Gear Store was getting so much stuff, I was like, oh, I want that. I can't afford it. Let me sell this collectible and this one. So then it was slowly removing things that weren't Fallout and putting things that were Fallout in the collection. Mm-hmm. And now there's not a single thing in this room except for some Starfield stuff that isn't Fallout.
So what was like the first thing that because like you said, you got on your own and you just started collecting because it doesn't sound like it was like a something you intended to do. You just kind of like fall into those situations where it's like, I got a whole bunch of merch. And then like, a year or two later, you realize like, oh shit, I got a whole lot of merch. So like where did it start? Did it start with Fallout or did it start with like some other franchise? Because you mentioned like, other video games and like movies and stuff like that.
Oh, as far as like collecting goes? Yeah, man. It would have actually. It probably did start with Fallout because I really wasn't collecting anything. I might have had just like, if anything, I might have had like Pokemon cards when I was a kid. But as far as like once I got on my own, around 2008, Fallout 3 came out, and a buddy of mine, I actually had no interest in Fallout. I was not that type of gamer. No interest at all. I did like open world games. I liked Call of Duty. I like Grand Theft Auto. I like stuff like that. But my buddy's like, hey, there's an open world game. He might like it. He gave it to me. I played it for like a week, and I was like, I don't think it's for me. Well, my fiance at the time, she was playing it, and she needed help finding Three Dog, and I was like, oh, I'll do it. And then I started playing it. I got hooked. Like the story started grabbing me. I was like, hey, let me play through this part. Let me play through that part. And then I was like, locked in. I couldn't put the game down. And and then so after that, so I only had the physical game. Then I was at GameStop and I found the collector's edition. I was like, dude, that's got a bobblehead. They have the bobbleheads in the game. I want that, and a lunchbox. Cool. So I got all that. And then I was at a store called what is the store called? It's Slackers. Slackers CDs and Games, which I don't know if you have one in your area, but it's kind of like a Midwestern. There's like maybe 4 or 5 of them around here. Anyway, they had one of the standees, one of the cardboard cutouts for Fallout 3. And I went in there. I was like, dude, how much for that? And they were like, oh, well, we don't normally sell them. And the game had already been out. Hype was gone for it. No one cared. Right. And he sold it to me for $20. So I took it home for $20 and had the Fallout 3 standee. Then when New Vegas came out, I got the collector's edition. Then I made friends with the employee GameStops and got the cardboard standee for that. Then I hit some money problems. I sold both of those standees. Somebody drove out from Indiana to pick them both up. And this was right when Fallout 4 was coming out. And I wanted to get some other stuff, but I wanted the collector's edition for Fallout 4, and money was not good because I was going through a lot of bad situations. Yeah. And so anyway, sold those, ended up repicking them up years later. I had to drive to Chicago to get them. But anyway, yeah, that's how it started. Fallout 3, slowly, get the collector's edition, get the standee. Then New Vegas got the collector's edition and the standee. Then more and more merch. And yeah, by the time Fallout 4 hit, there really wasn't much for New Vegas or 3 or the original games, but Fallout 4 really pushed the merch like hard. And then 76 hard. And now obviously the TV show is really pushing merch. So
yeah, just as hard, if not harder.
Yeah. Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, because they got a bunch of, heck, they just announced hot sauce today. Fallout hot sauce today. There's a new hot sauce coming out. Who was that by? That was I don't remember. Anyway, the Fallout hot sauce coming out, and then the Arizona drinks, and then just a bunch of stuff. I'm like, man, there's so much. It's hard to keep. Coffee, I don't typically buy. I buy Folgers, and then I just like mix it with a bunch of junk, and I don't care about my coffee. No, I just spent $150 on coffee. What am I doing?
I just looked it up here. It's Coney Island sauce, and it's Fallout Vault-Tec Industries hot sauce.
Yep.
And
That's the one.
it looks like the bottle has a little glow in the dark Vault Boy on it. It's
Yep.
so I'm most like there's gonna be a visual attached to this, but it's so funny because it's the hot sauce bottle and it's got the little Vault Boy and he's on it and he's all like, I got the hot sauce, and then it apparently glows in the dark. But it's not like the outline of the Vault Boy or anything. You can see his bones.
Nice. Yeah. So it's like a irradiated hot sauce.
Yeah, and the hot sauce bottle, it looks like he's holding a brick of uranium in his hand.
Yeah. I'm definitely buying some of that. I like spicy stuff anyway, so I'm all about it. You know.
That's amazing. My housemate's way into sauces and stuff. I gotta go in on him with this so he can try it and let me know how it is.
Oh yeah.
I'm not a heat guy. I can't handle spices.
Yeah. What's about the hottest thing you can handle?
Shit, God. I know I've had fuck, what was it? I've had I think it's habanero before, and there's like a little orange pepper. I can never remember what it is. My housemate gets it all the time.
Yeah, that should be habanero.
Okay, maybe it's something else.
I was thinking habanero is pretty spicy. Like if you can handle jalapeno and habanero, I don't think this hot sauce coming out would be spicier than those.
I think jalapeno was my limit. Granted, I don't really test that a whole lot.
Right.
But I think jalapeno is the one I'm thinking of. Because I know I've never tried habanero.
Yeah.
And then like my housemate did the the ghost pepper chip, like the one chip challenge thing.
The one chip challenge, yeah.
He tried that.
I did that once, and that made me tear up. That was pretty spicy.
Yeah, I watched him do that,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know why you do this to yourself. Spice is a chemical that plants secrete, trying to attack the thing that's eating it. So I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, there's a good spice, and then there's a why are you doing this to yourself spice, and I top out right around habanero. I love jalapenos. I enjoy habaneros and some things, but once I get beyond that, especially getting to like ghost peppers or scorpion pepper, anything like that, that's going to be a little too much for me personally.
It starts to get dangerous.
I like a good Tabasco sauce or something like with my eggs, or there's this truffle sauce. It's a hot sauce that has they probably wave a truffle above it and call it truffle infused. There's probably not really any truffle in it, but it's called truff sauce. And that was one of my favorite sauces, but it's kind of expensive. I want to say it's like $20 a bottle or something. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm spending $20 for like 8 ounces of hot sauce.
What's the other like big like collection item or like collection, like what besides Fallout, what other like franchise or IP I guess is like the big one for you as far as collecting?
Well, I don't collect anything else but Fallout, so it's made my life so much easier. Like walking through stores, I can look at everything and be like, does it say Fallout on it? I don't want it, so it's made it real easy. But for a while, I was collecting a lot of Rick and Morty stuff, and I had a whole wall of Rick and Morty stuff. So I had all the Funkos, all the minis, a bunch of like clothing and just junk stuff, like just stuff. Not junk. I shouldn't have said that, but like just a bunch of stuff. And I ended up purging all of that just to make more room for Fallout. But I think if I wasn't like if I can merge the question over to what would I collect if I wasn't collecting Fallout, oh man, I think about this a lot, and I think it would be Jurassic Park stuff because I fucking love Jurassic Park, and I see so much. That's when I am walking through a store. If I see something Jurassic Park, it's about the only thing that'll stop me, and I'll look at it for a while and be like, I kind of want it. I kind of want it, and then I'll just be like, nope, it's not Fallout or Metal Gear Solid because I almost bought some Metal Gear Solid stuff the other day. I think they re-released some like Metal Gear Solid t-shirts recently, or they were talking about it. I found some Metal Gear Solid figures and cards on eBay, and I almost bought them. And then I found a Metal Gear Solid Risk board game, and I was like, wow. I didn't know this existed, but it was kind of expensive, and I was like, it doesn't say Fallout on it, I'm not gonna get it.
Right, that's really cool though of Metal Gear Solid brand Risk game, because I think like if there were to be like a spin-off kind of game like that, I think Risk would definitely be the thing for Metal Gear. Fits very well.
And I think if I wasn't collecting Metal Gear or Jurassic Park, the next thing that I would collect, and it might even be right above those, is limited edition consoles. Like they have a bunch of PS4 consoles and Xbox consoles and stuff. And if if I purge my Fallout collection, that would give me enough money to really jump into something like that. And which I'm not doing. That's not a plan. I have no intention of doing this. I'm just saying, like, because there was a Metal Gear Solid Red PS4 that I'm like, that looks really cool. I want that. Or like they have a bunch of like reskinned Xboxes and stuff, and I'm like, those are really cool. Like I just put out a SpongeBob one that was limited. And I'm like, I kind of want it. I don't know why, but it looks neat. Just stuff like that. And yeah, I think. Or like the old Game Boys, the weird colored Game Boys that they would put out, like the Platinum GameCube or the, like just the green, the jungle green N64, stuff like that. Like I would get behind collecting old consoles like that pretty quick.
When it comes to like, I guess all three of those, Metal Gear, Jurassic Park, and consoles, like if you were to start collecting there, like what would be like the reason, like the big draw that would get you to start doing collecting those things?
The number one reason that I can think of off the top of my head is if this Fallout TV series, since we haven't watched it, if it's really bad, like really bad, and I know that I gotta wait, dude, yeah, like really, and it would just kill my interest in Fallout. Or if like by the time Fallout 5 comes out, they butcher it, they do something crazy to it, and just don't even make it Fallout anymore. That would be like, I'm done. I'm just like, I would.
They pull a Days Gone and everything is just asset ripped, and they use AI voices and shit like that.
Yeah, if it's something like that, that would push me far enough away from Fallout. Because I think the number one reason I collect Fallout is I just love the aesthetic of this stuff. I love the look of the power armor. I love the Vault Boy. He's so happy. Just stuff like that really just kind of sets it. I love Nuka-Cola. I just stuff that really sets that in. That if like the franchise got soiled in such a way that I could never want to like finish the next game installment, or I think the TV show is just god awful, that I would look at stuff and be like, you know what? I think I've had fun doing this. I think this, was a good 15-year run of collecting this stuff. I think I'm done. That would be the only way that I could see myself being pulled away from Fallout and starting to collect something else, which I don't see it happening anytime soon, because I'm kind of at my peak of enjoyment doing this. Things have gone, like, I don't know, it started off kind of slow, you get this, get that, and then like I was telling you before we actually started the podcast, I started that Facebook group. Met some of the coolest people on there, people with the same interests as you, collecting the same thing as you, just the same mindset, just really people that you can connect with on a different level that you can connect with, just a colleague or a coworker or just somebody that you meet on the streets. It's totally different meeting those people. That's like, oh my God, I thought I was the only person who knew about this collective lore. I thought I was the only person who was interested in that, Yeah, it's really cool because there's a fine line between somebody who just really enjoys Fallout and then somebody who enjoys it enough to collect the way a lot of us collect in that group, So it's pretty cool just seeing those people and helping each other really track stuff down. That's been a lot of fun. So I started that in 2018, absolute blast. And then like I was telling you earlier too, starting the channels, that was right around 2020 or 2021. That was a slow go, just kind of building things up. I've kind of moved away from the group a little bit where I'm not as active on it because I'm really having fun just making the videos and just getting other people interested in the same thing that I'm interested in is a lot of fun,
When it comes to those other franchises though, like because like you talked about with Fallout, like you really like the aesthetic, the vibe, the essence, as it were. When it comes to those other franchises, franchises and video, the retro console collecting and stuff, like what's the like vibe or the essence of those things that would like really suck your attention? Like let's say tomorrow Fallout just disappears from everybody's public knowledge, but you still got all the stuff and stuff, so like obviously we'd have to sell it and
right.
whatnot. But it's like, okay, Fallout isn't a thing anymore. I need a new thing to obsess over, as we all would. When it's like you have the decision, like retro gaming, Jurassic Park, or Metal Gear Solid. What from all of those interests is like the core thing that would make you choose one over the other?
Man, it would be just a nostalgia trip, like for Jurassic Park. I remember seeing Jurassic Park when I was like maybe 5 years old in the theater. I remember, and I will always remember going with my mom, when the T-Rex broke out of the cage, turning around, burying my face into that nasty theater seat, and like screaming because the T-Rex scared me. And I love like being scared and horror stuff, so that wasn't like a bad thing that I was scared of the T-Rex. It was like something that like sits with me. It's like that thing's cool, but I'm about to get eaten, you know. And it's just that nostalgia of going with my mom and seeing that. And we've always gone and seen every single Jurassic Park, and that just I've always liked dinosaurs, so that would draw me to it. And then a lot of the Jurassic Park merch has this like 90s feel to it, which is also kind of a nostalgic trip because, you know,
True.
came out in the late 90s, you know, so a lot of that OG Jurassic Park just has that 90s vibe to it for some reason. So that would draw me to it. As far as Metal Gear Solid, just another nostalgic trip, you know, like playing Metal Gear Solid 1 when I was a kid and beating it, being super excited about beating Metal Gear Rex and all that. Just the look and the visuals of Metal Gear and just the characters that you meet through it. I always thought those were really cool. And as far as the retro consoles go, I just love gaming in general. So that would literally just be like I loved Mario, I love Metal Gear, I love everything. A lot of games from Nintendo, a lot of games from PlayStation, a lot of old consoles just really interest me, like ones that you can't get. Like one of the ones I almost bought a couple weeks ago is there was a it's the PlayStation 1, but it's it was a console, so not the PS one like you would think of. It's a PlayStation 1 where it I think it worked kind of like a TiVo, where it was like a media device too. So it was this big set-top box that could play your what was it? I think it could play your PS1 games, and then it also had the original. No, sorry, it's PS2. It's what the heck was it? It's PSX. That's what it is. PSX. Sorry, I was saying it wrong. It's a PSX. So people would confuse that with the PS1, but it was actually a bridge between the PS2 and the PS3, and it only released in Japan. But it was kind of like a media box, where I think it had like a hard drive in there, and you can like store video and stuff like that. But it also had the XMB bar before the PS3 came out, and stuff like that almost nobody is going to know. It really interests me too. I just want one just because if somebody comes over and be like, you see that? Check it out. It's cool. That's it. That's the whole reason.
Oh, that's interesting. I looked it up, and yeah, it looks very similar to like kind of.
It looks like an old desktop PC to me. Like it's just that white cream, almost cream color, which might be discolorations in most of the ones that I've seen.
Or like a chunky, you know, like the older like DVD players where it's like that in between like the big fat VCR players and the more slim like DVD players. That's real crazy looking, and it's like a video game console, but it's also like that because like I remember when Xbox was starting to become like a bigger thing, like, you know, Xbox 360 and then going into like the Xbox One and stuff like that. It was really interesting because Xbox seemed to be leaning more into like the multimedia side. So like for a while there, it was like, oh, PlayStation is like specifically game focused, whereas Xbox is like multimedia focused. But then it's like, no, PlayStation.
Yeah, they kind of shot themselves in the foot with that.
Yeah. But it's just interesting because it's like, no, PlayStation was kind of like starting to like, you know, lean into that. I think because it says, that says it's discontinued in 2005, but it says the PSX, otherwise known as PlayStation X, video game console released in Japan on December 13th, 2003. And that's still a couple of years before the original Xbox dropped, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah,
I think I'm not no console historian or anything, but
no, yeah, neither. I if I see a console, I'm probably going to know roughly the time period. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure. I would assume the Xbox dropped between 2003 and 4, but I'm not 100% sure because I've actually never owned an original Xbox. My only playtime on an original Xbox was going over to a friend's house, and we just get high and play Xbox. That's it.
Right.
That's the only time. And it was usually like Burnout, and we just be like, "Whoa!" And that's it. That's my only experience with Xbox.
That's a hilarious game.
Sorry.
That's a hilarious game to play high. Burnout.
Dude, it was a good time. It was a good time for sure. Yeah, that, and then I remember being mind blown because it had a hard drive. My PlayStation 2 didn't have a hard drive, and we'd be playing music off of the hard drive while driving in Burnout. I'm like, this is so cool! Oh my god, you know. I remember that being really dope.
I remember doing that too on the 360. That was amazing. You mentioned that you have a couple of Starfield memorabilia as well. So, I mean, obviously we talked a lot about, you know, what, you know, other, you know, media property that you're into, Metal Gear, Jurassic Park, old consoles, stuff like that. So it's like you're not the you kind of are, but you are not the obsessive Fallout collector guy. That's what you collect, but it's not like, if it's not Fallout, it's garbage and I hate it.
No,
and I don't
no,
want
no, no.
anything to do with it. It's just, what you collect. You're obviously interested in other mediums as well.
Yeah. I think people might have that misconception about me that I would probably be the most obsessive Fallout fan that exists.
Right.
I'm so far from that. Like, so far. I enjoy the hobby, and I'm here to just enjoy the hobby with other people, and I think everybody has like some different reasons why they enjoy Fallout. Maybe it's the lore and the the story, or maybe it's like we were saying earlier, it's just the aesthetics. And me, I just really enjoy the collecting the stuff. It's something that I fell into. So you could ask me about different collectibles. I'm gonna be on that way quicker than you'd be like, oh, what do you think about the Enclave on this part? I'm gonna be like, I don't know. I forgot.
They got plasma guns, right?
yeah. So,
and
people are gonna say that's completely sacrilegious. And the weird part is, all the major collectors that I talk to, we're all kind of the same way. Some of the collectors that I talk to who have more Fallout 76 stuff than I haven't even played 76, and that to me is wild. I'm like, you haven't even played it yet? They're like, no, not yet.
That's really weird.
Yeah,
I can't imagine being a collector. I mean, I guess it's 76 specifically, so there's like reasons for not playing it. But like, I don't know, that still seems real weird. Like if you're buying something from like merch for a specific game and you haven't played that game, right? I don't know, that's weird to me. Of course,
I've at least played all of them a little bit. I'm gonna be real honest. I haven't beat the original Fallouts. I've started them and got somewhere in them, but generally, like I remember when I was playing through was it Fallout 1 or 2, the computer that I was playing it on crapped out completely, and then I just never restarted it. And then it was like, I think I started Fallout one of the other Fallouts on it was on DOSBox on a phone, and I got it to work, and I was like, oh, it was so cool. And it was literally just a gimmick to me. Well, I'm like, cool, I got it working. I played it a little while, and then I just never fully dove in, because like we were saying before, like that wasn't my initial game style. I jumped into Fallout 3 loving the first person. Well, you can do third person too, but the big open world 3D everything, I thought that was cool. So like the top down games weren't what I was very good at. And I think now I can probably sit down and play them better than I could years ago, but because I've kind of chilled out, I guess. I was when I got into Fallout 3, I was the fucking ADD Call of Duty kid, where it's like, oh, I just want to play Call of Duty, go, it's got to be fast, and so like sitting down and playing a slow-paced RPG game was not in my, it's something I would do, so.
Was there, are you going to play the Fallout 1 and 2 remake mods that are in development?
Oh yeah, I would definitely try those out.
Hell yeah.
I'm really excited for Fallout London, I'll say that.
That's going to be wild. This whole month is just going to be absolutely insane. I've been hearing some stuff about the Fallout Amazon series, like, oh, it's good and stuff like that. And I think everybody is still a little bit wary of like another big Fallout modded project, especially after like the Frontier. But what I'm seeing of like London and a lot of what I'm hearing and stuff, I'm pretty sure it's gonna hit right. So like this whole month is just going to be a crazy month for Fallout.
Yep.
But
man, I'm really upset though, because a member from the Fallout London team reached out. This is months and months and months ago. He reached out and wanted to know if I would voice act a character, and I was like, oh dude, that sounds awesome. And there was a deadline that was coming up, and I just completely missed the deadline, and so I couldn't do it. I was like, oh man, I'm really bummed. The more I think about it, I'm really bummed out, because I thought that'd be the coolest thing. There's voice acting a character in it.
There's a lot of other projects out there, so you have plenty.
Yeah, well, the irony is I hate my voice, but I think everyone's kind of in the same boat. I hate my voice, so I'm sure if I was playing the London mod, I walked up to my character, I'd probably be like, well, I'm done with this game now.
Right, like uninstall.
Yeah, it's like, well, I heard my voice, don't like that. Yeah.
Right, don't know. But to my original question, you mentioned having Starfield merch and stuff. What's been your response to I guess more so Starfield as a, because I don't know, it's interesting, because I think obviously there's like super hardcore Fallout fans, but then I think most Fallout fans are just more so like generalist Bethesda fans. So like, you know, Skyrim, Fallout, Starfield, and then you start getting into like their other games like you know, Prey, and that one where you like go back in time a little bit to like assassinate the guy. Fuck, it was super popular. I can't remember the
Dishonored.
No, not Dishonored. Oh God, what was it? I can't remember it off the top of my head. It's gonna be people yelling at the screen right now. They're like, I can't believe you forgot about that, you idiot. It was like super popular. I can't remember, but like, you know, other Bethesda games that aren't like their creation games, you know, again, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Starfield, stuff like that. When it comes, so like, you know, there's more so like general, most of the, as far as I consider it, and you know, maybe I'm wrong, a lot of, if not the majority of the Fallout fan base is also more so generalist Bethesda fans. So they play Elder Scrolls, Starfield, all that, since Starfield's new and everything. What's been your reception to both the game itself, but also from the collection side? How do you feel like they're doing as far as like, you know, the merch and like other sort of mediums, whether that be merchandise, side stories, stuff like that, to like grow, you know, this new literal universe that we have to play in now?
Well, I think they took the merch slow. I mean, the hype was there before Starfield came out than after it came out. Hype for Starfield seemed to die quicker than anything I'd seen in a while, and I kind of fall into that camp too, because I was hyped for the game. I was really excited. The thought of the open world exploration, that No Man's Sky style of game, but with a Bethesda game behind it, you know, like, oh my god, this is gonna be amazing. And yeah, I was really into the game for about 100 hours, and there was a peak there, probably maybe 50, 60, 70 hours in, where I was like, oh my god, this game is freaking amazing. And then something happened where the game just started feeling repetitious, you know, where you land on a planet, you felt like there were times where I would catch myself going through, you know, one of the spots that you like, you know, one of the generated areas that you'd land on the planet, and walking past a locker and recognizing the same items, and you're like, wow, this is just copy pasted from another planet. This feels, I don't like this, you know. So I kind of fell off of it relatively quick. As far as a merch standpoint, they didn't come out with a whole bunch of merch, and most of the merch they did was just the Constellation logo on, just they slapped that on a bunch of stuff. And they came out with like a statue, several mugs, some t-shirts. I would say my favorite collectibles that came out of it would have been well, they did a graphics card. I didn't get the graphics card, but that was really cool. But like the headset and the controller, those I would never get rid of. But like, as far as everything else, like the watch is cool, but I don't ever wear it. I love the Wand Company. They're probably one of my favorite collectibles companies. I met Chris Bernardo once, and he was one of the nicest, most genuine people you could possibly meet. Nice. And so I really, really stand behind anything they put out. I'm tempted to buy. I'm not in Pokemon, but I want to buy all the Pokeballs that they come out with, because Chris was so cool, and I just love everything his company does. He puts so much work and effort behind everything, like that watch. I know he put a lot of effort into that watch, you know, or his team put a lot of effort into that stuff. So,
do you have one of the like the credit chips that they were putting out with Starfield?
Yeah. So that came with the collector's edition. So it came with a credit chip, the credit chip, the Steel game, and the credit chip actually had a digital copy of the game. Nice. And then the watch, and then the watch case, which actually had that like airlock, you know. Then that's another thing that was, you know, Chris and his team did that, you know, as far as the watch case goes. And it's just really cool. Really a lot of thought put into that, you know, that you wouldn't. Years ago, it felt like collector's editions for anything were just cheap. You know, just here's something with the logo on it. Congratulations, you have it in a collector's edition now. But that was really cool. I really enjoyed the collector's edition for that. But yeah, the game just kind of, to me, fell flat a little bit. I am excited for the DLC. Was that Shattered Space or something that they're coming out with? I still need to finish. I still never beat Starfield. I know it's like people are on New Game Plus 15 by now, I'm sure, but like I take my time with those games, and like I don't know if we talked about it, but I don't typically replay games that often. So like me, if I'm gonna play through Starfield, I'm gonna do everything possible my first playthrough, and there's a high chance that I'm either going to take several years before I play this again, or I might never play it again, you know. So, but I'm going to look in every nook and cranny for the several hundred hours that I do this one playthrough. But the chances of me starting over are slim.
So as a quick side note, the game I was thinking of was Deathloop. I looked it up real quick.
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
that's actually one that I haven't played yet. I own the game. I haven't touched it yet.
I haven't either, but I heard it was weird because like when it first dropped, I heard some people saying like it was really bad, like it was doing really bad, and then like like a week or two later, I was hearing like, oh, this is the best thing ever. But from what I've heard, it's generally a generally highly enjoyed game.
Yeah.
When it comes to so second side note, and I'm not going to give any spoilers or anything. As you said, there's like New Game Plus and stuff. It kind of like wraps into the story, like starting a new game. So again, no spoilers or information or anything. So like starting a new game isn't really going to be the same as in like, you go back and you play New Vegas and you start like a new character and stuff like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, since I hadn't started a new game, I assumed it would be, because I kind of know what you're trying to avoid spoiling. I think I kind of know what it is, but I won't say it either. But when you start a new game, are you still a new hire for the mines and all that stuff? Or is it like I just start somewhere completely different?
So like, again, no spoilers or anything. Story wise, after you finish the game the first time, you're as you said, there's like a new game plus and stuff like that. So you start the game over. You start pretty much after you leave Vectera. So like you leave and then you're like, I can't remember if you're actually in orbit around Vectera, but like that's where the game starts. So you don't go through the whole mine storyline again. You basically start after that point. But again, that's
yeah. I couldn't even tell you exactly where I left off. I know I'm really far through the story. If I had to guess, I'm probably like 80-90% there. But the funny thing is, I didn't go back through, like, there's so many side missions that I haven't touched, that's why I don't want to finish the game, because I want to get back to the side. I just want to do as much as humanly possible, and then be like, cool, now I'm gonna start over again.
Right.
If I do start over.
One of the things I will say, and again, there's no spoilers or anything, when you get into New Game Plus and you go back to talk to Constellation and everything, you do actually have the option of completely skipping over the main quest to basically get like to the end game part. There's a little bit of stuff you have to do, but then after that point you're like completely free to do the other side quests and everything. But cool. Yeah, I know I also thought that was really cool. You get into New Game Plus and you can just, instead of having to play the entire game all over again, which can take a little bit depending on how you go about it, you can just like jump to the end of that. That was one of the big reasons I was avoiding it. Is like, oh man, I don't want to go through all that beginning game crap again. So that's the biggest reason I avoided it. It's really interesting that they did that. It makes a little bit of sense, once you have a little bit more context about how the story plays out and everything. But you will not have to worry about that. On Starfield though, because you mentioned being excited for Shattered Space and everything, I think everybody is. Pretty much anytime anybody or like the official Bethesda account posts like anything about Starfield, I just see like, not a lot of people, but every once in a while it'll be all like, oh fucking when's the Shattered Space DLC coming out? And there's one part of me that's sitting here like, it's been like fucking 4 months, like calm down. It's wild to think that it really hasn't been that long. Because when I look at my Starfield stuff, I'm like, in my head, it feels like that was a long time ago, but it really hasn't been that long. Right. And everything's been a long time post-COVID, So time doesn't matter anymore. Yep. To that though, once, Shattered Space comes out, and I guess more so specifically, whenever they release the mod kit, because I've talked about this with other people before, other guests, people offline and stuff like that. It really seems that like the game is just going, well, one, it seems like Starfield is more so like specifically built for modding. Because one of the things that I mention all the time and probably talked about in other podcasts, is that like like you go to a single planet and you can drop like anywhere on that planet, and then it opens up like a really big map area with different locations, and then you can build stuff, yada yada yada, on and on and on. But you can do that for so many individual locations on the surface of that one planet that
Oh yeah.
if somebody wanted to like make, you know, a locational quest based mod, or like a multi-locational quest based mod, like you have to go to this place on this planet, talk to this dude, and then he'll send you to another place on the same planet, or maybe another planet, and then you go down there and do stuff there and then go back to him, you know, something like that. You can do that, and you will never have, like, unless you're like purposefully putting it where somebody else's other mod is located, it is incredibly unlikely that the same mod, or that a singular mod, will overlap with any other singular mod, because as I said, you can put down or the, like, you know, the generated maps can be placed down anywhere on a single planet, and there's like thousands, if not millions, of singular individuals on one planet, like individual drop locations, that there would just need to be a stupid number of mods in order for
you'd have to have like 1.5 million mods installed before you probably
like,
start running into like overlaps like that.
Yeah, and that's just on one planet. There's 1,000 planets out there. So, you know, again, a lot of them are like, you know, moons, barren, stuff like that. But, you know, stuff can be added there. And it's interesting because even before a mod kit is launched, I think Starfield is like the 11th most modded game on the Nexus.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I know that. Right? I was also surprised
because last I heard, some modder didn't want to mess. I think they were trying to port online to it, and then whoever was doing the mod was just like, "This game's not worth it." And so I thought that was like a popular consensus with modders, that they just didn't want to bother with it. And I haven't even looked into modding the game yet. I think the only mod that I did was a achievement enabler mod, because I was using I was using console commands, not to like cheat the game, but I was trying to get. I think I was doing a video because I got a review copy of the game, and so I got it like a week or two early, and so I was playing it, and I was using the console commands to like do the free camera and move around and do some certain, you know, get some angles and stuff.
Right.
And as soon as you use that console command, you can't do trophies anymore.
Yeah, it sucks. But to my point, because I apologize, I ramble a lot trying to get to my eventual point. Do you think the game is going to see like because, like, you know, Bethesda's creation games, again, Elder Scrolls, Fallout, Starfield, they're all like, you know, great games in their own regards, but they're all like, maybe not reliant, but a big part of the game experience is the modding aspect. Do you think that Starfield is going to have like a massive resurgence, or just like eventual you know, boom or gold rush, however you want to, you know, classify it, once like the modding kit drops, because of how sort of enthusiastic just the general fan base is, you know, Bethesda fan base when it comes to modding and stuff, is just, you know, do you think there's going to be like a massive resurgence once people can actually like full scale mod the game?
I personally, no. I don't think it's going to be a resurgence. Like, I don't think it's going to be nearly as popular as like Fallout and Skyrim is to mod. And I think the biggest difference with that is just, a while ago I saw something, and it was like a formula for open world games where, like, if you go X amount of time without a point of interest, the game isn't going to be fun for a lot of people. And I think that's a problem with Starfield, is you can walk on a barren moon forever. You know, like, I know they have mods already where you can increase the chances of like random buildings and random events and stuff, and that might help it, but I think fundamentally the game was flawed with that. I mean, if mods can fix that, then it might bring a lot of people back, but I do not see it being like nearly as much as Skyrim and Fallout. You know, I think Skyrim is probably the most modded game, right? Or maybe Fallout, but
yes.
I would say Skyrim probably number one.
If I remember correctly, it's like the top two are like two different versions of Skyrim, and then I think Fallout 4, and then New Vegas, and then something else. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah. Like, it's pretty much like this is Skyrim's world, and everything else just lives in it.
Yeah, I think those games being so critically acclaimed from the start really helped keep people there, and really helped make people excited for the mods. And whereas Starfield was fun, it's not a bad game. It's just, I don't think it has the same draw, you know?
Yeah.
as Skyrim and Fallout. At least not for me. That's my personal take on it. It was really fun for like 100 or so hours, and then now that I've dropped off, it's hard. It's not nothing's drawing me back to it. Shattered Space I might check that out and see what all they've changed, because like I said, it's been a few months since the last time I played it. I think I put those 100 hours in within the first month and a half, and yeah, and then so I'm sure they've done a lot of updates and changes, and maybe the game runs a lot better now too. But
Yeah.
I didn't have too many issues with it running on my computer, but we'll see. Yeah, I would jump back into it, but I just don't think it's going to have the same draw as the other creation engine Bethesda games.
If they do make like a series out of it, like Starfield 2, is going to be very interesting to see what kind of community is like built around it, because even like I said before, there's a very generalist Bethesda fan base as far as like the average Fallout or the average Skyrim fan, or Elder Scrolls specifically. But there's still like big differences between the kind of games that Starfield or Fallout or Elder Scrolls kind of are. So it's going to be interesting, like if they do make an actual franchise out of Starfield, what the fan base is and like what the community is going to look like, and how it's going to be very similar but unique compared to the Fallout fan base or the Elder Scrolls fan base.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see how that all plays out, because I think if they do make a Starfield 2, obviously it's not what we're probably talking about 8-10 years before we see another Starfield.
At the very
I would guess
least.
at least,
Yeah.
So I think by then people will enough time has gone by. Computers, everything would have been upgraded enough to where if they did make another one, they could make it where the what do they call it? Now I forgot the term for it. Kind of like where No Man's Sky, where you land and everything's randomly generated.
Oh,
They could do something like that, make things randomly generated way better, way more points of interest that are very unique. That maybe the game would be a lot better, if they did go that route again. But I don't know if they would.
Because Starfield does seem like a much more like technically advanced game compared to Elder Scrolls and Fallout. And again, it's like the newest game. The last game was like what, 8 years ago or something, when Fallout 4, I guess technically Fallout 76, but still the point is, it seems like
76 and Fallout 4 felt pretty much the same as far as how a lot of the stuff worked. It was just like they took Fallout 4, changed the map, and added multiplayer, which isn't a bad thing. It's great, but as far as like how the game looks and functions, it felt pretty much just like Fallout 4.
Yeah, and like when it comes to Starfield specifically, it does feel like a game that is more so focusing on like the technical aspects, especially when it comes to modding specifically, compared to Fallout 76 or Fallout 4, since those were like the last big ones. So me personally, I think it's going to be interesting to see what Bethesda does with that franchise, if the technical aspects and like the heavier emphasis on modability is going to be, if they decide to make it a franchise. But I think if nothing else, it's just going to be interesting to see how they're handling the property in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like going
they'll do an Amazon TV show for Starfield, probably get like 6 seasons of that before we get the next Starfield.
That would be wild. Can you imagine?
That'd be crazy.
Right. Or they get like they get like super big brain and have like HBO Max make the or like Apple make the Starfield TV show, and then like two brands fight and they're just on the side like go, like egging them on.
Well, it's kind of like kind of off topic. The South Park creators did that, where they were like back and forth between a bunch of different studios, making an episode here, and then they all fought. And they made tons of money.
They did
doing
that. That was a weird time to be a South Park fan.
Yeah, it was wild because it'd be like, oh, here's a special on HBO, here's a special on Peacock, here's the Hulu special. And you're like, what is going on? Right. Meanwhile, they're raking in like billions of dollars just because all these streaming services wanted South Park.
Right. So check out our new special released exclusively on Tubi. Like what?
Yeah. It's crazy. Yep. I couldn't believe all that, but yeah, they'll do something like that with Starfield.
Yeah. I don't. So like again, because I mentioned before that we're recording this on the same day as the Fallout TV series is going to drop, and as a matter of fact, it's actually going to drop in 28 minutes on the dot. So I don't want to feel like we're rushing to the ending here.
Oh yeah, you're good. I thought it dropped at 7 o'clock my time.
No, it drops.
Maybe it is.
I think maybe it's 7. I know that it drops at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and for me right now it's 5:33.
Okay.
But as sort of like
no, yeah, it's not out yet.
Yeah.
For me, so yeah, 28 minutes.
Yeah, almost. But
yep, almost there.
Because we are in the literal 11th hour before Fallout, the Fallout Amazon series drops, and it's going to be because this episode probably isn't going to release for a little bit. I got another episode that I'm going to drop before this, and then it's just going to be a little bit. But what are your two things? So first is let's give our final thoughts about what we sort of expect, what we would like to see, and what we think, because like every season 1 has like the big twist. What do we expect from the series? What do we want to see from the series, and what can we hypothesize as the like big twist? So I can go first if you would permit me.
Yeah, no, go for it, because I really don't have anything on this topic, because like I said before, I've been avoiding as much as I could. I watch the trailers, but I've tried not to like think too hard on it, because I don't want my expectations one way or the other. Right. So I've been so disconnected from the actual what I think the show is going to be that I'm trying to just go in and just be completely surprised and be like, just you ever go to the theater and just watch a movie that you've never seen a trailer for? That's about as like, obviously I know a little bit about it, but that's about where I want to be for this. I want to be surprised at every turn, and not even like I've avoided like deep dives into the trailers and all that stuff specifically. When I see things that I'm like, oh, that's cool, I'm excited for that. So as far as that goes, I might not have very much on this topic at all.
Well, we'll do it as more of a thought experiment then.
Yeah, go for it.
One of the things that I sort of expect, and it's more so going off of just I guess more so educated guesses, as it were, just from like the trailers and stuff. I am seeing a lot of reference to the older games, specifically the non-Bethesda games. Obviously, you have the New California Republic in there, and one of the things specifically that I noticed is the Brotherhood of Steel faction that they're showing off in the game seems a lot more religious in a sense. They got like stuff that looks like ceremonies. They got those like bishop looking guys that like,
I did see that in the trailer.
Yeah, and that I think more so is interesting, because that's sort of like a deep, I mean, you played Fallout 1 and 2, so like that in those games the Brotherhood of Steel were more of like just a cult of weird dudes hanging out in a cave wearing robes and worshiping technology. So that kind of seems like it's the evolution of that, because this is the farthest story in the timeline so far. But I from what I'm seeing, I'm kind of expecting it to be more adherent to the franchise as a whole, and not specifically like Bethesda's version of the franchise.
Yeah.
So it seems very expansive in that regard. One thing that I would like to see is more so just I guess more of like a grounding of the series, especially because in the games like stuff can get like wacky and silly every now and then, but it doesn't really feel like since Fallout 3 and New Vegas that we kind of got a lot more grounded of a story that felt more fleshed out and and I guess sort of like personal in a way. For Fallout 4 specifically, it doesn't really feel like. It's funny because like it is a personal story, but it doesn't feel like a personal story. I think that they probably are able to do that a little bit easier with it being a scripted TV series.
Because you're kind of locked into whatever that character decides to do. You can't really alter anything.
Right. So what I would like to see is just that, a more grounded viewpoint of the world, whereas we're not going out and exploring everything, but we're getting sort of like a more or less hardline informational sort of thing, like this is what that is, this is what that is, and sort of like setting up additional like reference points that we can then use to compare to other bits of the lore. As far as like the big twist, and I'm not going to go into super specifics, but I think the big twist either at the like midway point or like the end of the series or the end of the first season, because we kind of saw some stuff that sort of hinted at it in like the leak spin and stuff. I think that at some point the Enclave is going to show up, or, and this is kind of like a super just out of pocket thing that I'm just like throwing out there, we see the return of the Master. It's 100% not going to happen, but like, can you imagine he just like slowly rises up from some like abandoned factory, we hear his voice and stuff like that, and like, oh, the entire fan base would go absolutely insane.
Yeah, it'd be crazy if they did
right.
that.
What about you? You got any 2 cents to throw in here?
Oh man, you summarized it way better than I could, as far as like like the deep dive thought that you've put into it, because I really haven't, like I said, I have tried to avoid really thinking too much about anything. I don't know, I want to be surprised at every turn, and I really just didn't even really think about too much of it, which sounds so backwards for like anybody who's like a super fan, because I'm sure every super fan out there is like really thinking about that. I've just been kind of like, I just want to be surprised. I just want to go into it. I want to go into it and feel like it's like the first time I played Fallout 3, where I have no idea what's going to happen, and that excites me the most,
God, can you imagine playing Fallout 3 for the first time again?
For the first dude, yeah. Well, for me, like the first time I played Fallout 3, I didn't like it. I was like, oh, I don't like this, and then I put it down. And then, like I said, my fiance picked it up, and she was like playing through part of it, and I was like, oh, I'll help you out. I'll help you get through this part. I'll help you find Three Dog, and then you get to GNR, and you're like fighting this and fighting that, and then you get to more of the story. And I was like, well, this game's actually fun. I'm playing this game now. You're not touching this anymore.
But then you go back
then
in and you start a new
took
game,
off.
and then you leave Vault 101 for the first time, and it's just like, oh.
Yep.
Fucking preem video game moment.
Dude, yeah, that was so good. I've restarted Fallout 3 more than any of the other Fallouts, because like I'll do a mod, or like save data get corrupted, or I messed this up, did that, whatever, started on a new computer system or whatever. Anyway, I've restarted the game so many times. I still love the way they start that game. Just start off as the baby, so then you go through the years, and and then that first time you step out into the wasteland and you look around. I do remember enjoying that the first time I played it, like walking out and looking back and forth. But I didn't understand the fundamentals of the game. So I was like, I walked straight ahead, straight to the school, died. Cool. Let's go do this again. Straight ahead, straight to the school. Rad Scorpion, kill me. Raider, kill me. I'm like, what am I doing wrong?
Like, yeah, you're supposed to walk literally 40 feet to your left. I'm like, oh.
Yep,
sorry.
exactly. And,
or I guess
or it's to the right. Case. Yeah, it's Megaton's to the right when you exit the vault. And then, because I remember finally making it into Megaton. I was like, oh, okay, all right, now I'm figuring it out, and then getting deeper and deeper into it. Then at one point, I read somewhere that because I was playing on like maybe normal, and somebody was like, oh, you want to level up, put it on like the hardest difficulty, and then kill a few small creatures, and that'll help you level up. I was like, oh, I'm gonna do that. And I remember I did that, and I never set it back. And I played on the hardest difficulty. This is my first playthrough of the game. Hardest difficulty for hours and hours and hours. Remember struggling so bad in this game. I went over to my buddy's house, and he was playing it. And I remember he was like lower level than I was, fighting pretty much the same people that I was. And he was breezing right through it. I'm like, why is this so easy for you? And like, I didn't understand why. I forgot that I changed the difficulty. And then I think I was going through settings or doing something, and I seen that I had it on very hard, and I set it back down to normal. And I was like, oh my God, this game's so much easier now. I think I ended up leaving it on hard, because I got so used to playing on very hard that just setting it back to hard was like amazing.
You filthy casual.
I know. Yeah, I was like, because I remember one part there was the powder. Who was it? Mercenaries. It was
Oh
the
yeah,
talent company
yep, yep.
Mercenaries. I exited a cave, and they ran up, and there was a bounty on me, and I just died on that same part because this cave wiped me out, where I had almost nothing left, and I was like resetting over and over and over on this part. And I'm like, God, this sucks. So I think I had 2 grenades and maybe a couple of things. So my strategy was to run out, run to the left so they couldn't fight me, and throw my 2 grenades. And then I had a few bullets left in this gun or that. I finally made it out of there, but I think I played that little part like 15 times because I had set on the hardest difficulty and I didn't know it. And I just kept getting brutalized on that part. It was
The
pretty funny.
strat. All right.
Yeah.
So we got just over 15 minutes until the show drops. We're both super excited to watch it. I always like to end episodes with a bit of words of wisdom. Collector, take us out with some words of wisdom. What do you got for the audience and for the community?
Oh man, I'm not a very wise person, I'll tell you that. Since I'm a collector, I can just go over a lot of frequently asked questions that I have. So one of the frequently asked questions that I have is it too late to start collecting Fallout stuff? And I'm gonna say no, but I'm gonna say if you decide to start collecting, take it slow. Enjoy the hobby. Don't dive in trying to compete with people because you're only going to get angry and frustrated and go broke really quick. The only reason that I have as much stuff as I have is I've been collecting for 15 years and I'm a very patient collector. I think that's kind of one of the number one things is like I don't jump on something that's rare and spend $500 on it. I'll wait another 10 years and find that person who's selling it for 350, and save money on it, just stuff like that can really get people in traps. I think that's the number one question that people ask in my comments is, where do I buy stuff is number one, and then this is probably number two is it too late to start collecting? Because there's so much stuff that's been out for so many years, it's hard to find. Just enjoy the hobby, take it slow, have fun with it.
Thank you for listening to our conversation with the Fallout Collector, and I hope you found our conversation enjoyable and inspiring. As always, be sure to like and follow to be notified of future episodes, and consider subscribing to our Patreon, which you can find linked in the description below, along with our guest socials. Until next time, dear listener, I thank you for tuning in, and I will see you all out there in the wasteland.